2 o'clock and the safari goes off at 2:15, and in front of us, right in the distance, is a herd of elephant. They're all huddled up. I wonder what they're all doing. A panrod. There's another herd of elephant over here, and let me just go in and look at them. They come to Corbett in the summer months. In winter, they're not here. When we've been here previously in February, we haven't seen elephant. Now we're towards the end of March, and we're seeing elephant. All the jeeps are ready for the afternoon safari. 2:15 is meant to be kick-off time or assembly time. I think we come back at 6:15, so it's a 4-hour safari. Here they go. Everyone's waiting. Yep, they're moving. 2:15. Look, here we go.
Let it go.
Pit stop.
Le Mans 24.
Those chips are still waiting for their
Look, then they'll run over the management.
One zippy driver's overtaking on the outside, the next one's overtaking on the outside. It's like Le Mans.
Yeah.
He organised.
There's always great excitement and anticipation at the start of each safari drive. What will we see today?
So which side are we going? Left. Last 1 hour,
Yeah.
if we consider movement, if movement is that side, will stop there. Otherwise, last 1 hour spend that side.
Okay.
Okay.
So where are we? We're in Corbett National Park, right at the top of India, at the foothills of the Himalayas. It's northeast from Delhi, and we've just set out from Tikala Forest Lodge. And the route we're going to be taking is along here, and as Prakash, our guide, just said to us, we're going to check out along here if there's any movement, and by that he means, are there any tigers moving around, any alarm calls going? And for the last hour we'll come back along here and check out the grasslands, where there have been considerable number of tiger sightings. There are 4 or 5 tigers that live in the grasslands, and when they're patrolling their territory, they give us tourists a good long view at them. So fingers crossed, hopefully we'll see something.
That's the bus.
Yes, they visit.
They're going to look for the tiger.
They visit same day back. So if you want to take picture,
Yeah.
I remember you.
Yeah.
You will call me to the spot.
Okay, I'll do
I know
that.
what your requirement, what you want.
Yeah.
But so please tell me.
Yeah, we'll tell you. Thank you.
Many elephants. Yeah.
Oh my God.
This is called the Sambar Road. This track,
Yes.
this track called Sambar Road. Sambar Road is the heart of the Corbett.
Okay.
Yeah, heart of the Corbett. This way the one-way track,
Okay.
and the lot of times ago the continuous tiger sighting and a very powerful track. This one,
Okay.
the one-way track.
Okay.
If coming here, so after then go Dhikala, to go very far round,
Okay.
not to back here.
Okay.
And in this place is a lot of shamar activity, good, the good bird and kingfisher,
Okay.
and sometimes the tiger is sitting on the water area. But 3 tigers is living here.
3 tigers.
3 tigers. All are she.
Okay.
Tigress.
All tigers, yeah.
Yes. His 2018-19 his mother called Parwali. The famous name is called tigress.
Okay.
Parwali, because they cross the river always living.
Okay.
So very young tigress is very habitual tigress, very friendly tigress. Now his baby is same like behave.
Okay.
While you spot the same like his mother action.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you. So if we look carefully, we might find the tiger in the water.
Yep. Is the elephant?
The elephant baby is just
Yeah.
Can you see it? Not me.
वो वहाँ ले लो ऐसे शूटिंग कर लेते हैं और डालो बीच वाले से डालो बीच से दिखाओ रोड पे भी कहाँ है ऐसे मैं और पीछे
I
फोटो
can see
खींच
a
के ना
pig in the weed.
अच्छा नहीं हटा अच्छा हटा तो सही था
Rightly, animals come first in all Indian national parks. We wait for these elephants. 3/4 of the elephant's day is spent eating a wide variety of plants, plenty of leaves, shrubs, trees, twigs, branches and bark.
तो बच्चे हैं ना रोड पे
Yeah, the baby's still
बहुत
there.
स्मॉल बेबी ना स्मॉल
Baby's still.
Up to 150 kilograms for an adult elephant, over half of which passes through the body is undigested.
Looking at nails.
हटा हटा
The guides always do their very best for their guests, trying to work out where the next tiger will appear. As Prakash has said, all the guides believe today that the tiger will appear on the Samba route, and this is why we're all heading off in this direction. None of the 3 tigresses have been seen for some time. Meanwhile, all the jeeps are delayed by this herd of elephants. This road is a one-way route, so no one can turn back. We all have to wait on the elephants.
Actually, this way is all car is think that is the car. Yeah. He guessed the tiger sighting Samba road. Yeah, all car is coming in, all are coming here because they can't turn back.
Yeah, trapped.
All are there.
35 minutes.
35 minutes.
Yeah.
Prakash told us 3 tigresses live in this area, each with their own territories and boundaries that they will patrol and scent mark. We know from our own experiences during this trip, tigers will often be on the move with no jungle alarms going off. In other words, unseen by the other jungle folk who would be on their menu. It's important that everyone in the jeep keeps looking out, not just the guides.
Boarding. Yeah.
On the left.
Just behind the rock.
Okay.
And 2 turtles.
Was it?
No, further down the river.
There's one with it,
Oh, yeah.
right next door to it.
It's in the sun. Sun facing.
Both basking,
Yeah, yeah.
Crocodile and the turtle.
side by side.
I do wonder how often tigers sit in the jungle watching us tourists drive by, and all of us absolutely oblivious of the fact that they're there.
Petrol.
That's tea break point.
Control point.
Tea break point.
Yes. Yeah, we got our stuff.
Oh, look at the elephant lot.
Yeah.
Oh wow, yes. It's a good place for tea and to watch the elephants.
Yes.
Us
Yes.
Forest.
forest men.
Forest man.
Oh.
There's Tikala Lodge on the far side there. and we swing around, we can see the hills behind, Ganga River down below. There's a nice big herd of elephants. I'm just going to go and zoom in on them now.
It is wonderful seeing all these herds of elephants at Corbett. In part 1 I mentioned how a herd is made up of females who are all related to each other. Great-grandmother, grandmother, mother, daughters and so on. The males leave the herd when they're around 12 years of age, around puberty. I'm going to dig into the 19th century book Sport and Adventure in the Indian Jungle, which tells us a lot about elephants. It talks about Fazl the Mahout, who has been a Mahout all his life from childhood, spending all his time amongst the elephants, he says. He tells us herds always number between 20 to 30, seldom more. There may be several herds in the district, but they never intermingle. They always keep apart. And we can certainly see that here at Corbett. If one elephant becomes separated from its herd, it tries to join another, it won't be allowed by the members of that herd. It will be turned away. And sometimes one sees solitary elephants. The book continues. Elephants have been a servant of man as far back as records began. Inscriptions left by Egyptians some 3000 BC or 5000 years ago show Asian or Indian elephants as beasts of carriage. The Romans, we know, tamed African elephants, which were used in triumphal processions of several emperors and generals. There are no elephant farms because wild elephants are captured and trained. Fazl the Mahout tells us. They take to captivity kindly. And that's what I'm going to talk about next. There's a very good account of how herds of elephants would be captured and then tamed.
So we're off to look at these elephants we've been watching coming across.
Oh wow, we're going down there. Ooh.
So maybe a bit closer to them than the long distance shots I was taking earlier.
The following account is of an 1890 Kheddah, I hope I pronounced that correctly, or elephant catching operation, put on especially for Prince Albert Victor, Duke of Clarence, who was second in line to the British throne.
Yeah, no bottoms here.
I find it fascinating. I hope you do too. The account goes, Sanderson, the Hathi, or Elephant King, was amongst us. He just returned from his big catch of 600 elephants in one lot in the Garo Hills, and was now in charge of the Kheddah, or elephant capturing operations in Mysore. To him was entrusted the task of arranging a drive and capturing a herd of elephants in the presence of the royal duke. The Kheddahs, or elephant traps, were constructed in heavily wooded valley at the foot of the Bilgiri Rangan Hills, 56 miles from the railway terminus of Mysore city. The Kheddah had been constructed months before. A short description of this elephant trap may not be uninteresting. During the dry months between January to May, when fodder is scarce on the hills, the elephants retire to the upper slopes of the hills where green food is more abundant. With the first rains in June, the herds seek the rich pastures at the foot of the hills. During the absence of the elephants from January to May, a site for the trap is selected at the foot of the hills in some low, heavily wooded valley known to be one of their favourite resorts. 3 circular stockades, the largest one 150 acres in extent, the next 1 acre, and the smallest half an acre, with an opening from the largest into the second and from that into the third, all surrounding a ditch 8 feet deep and 6 feet wide, form the Kheddah. Once within this enclosure, the herd is practically secured. the entrance being guarded by a line of beaters who frighten away the animals should they make an attempt to return. Here the elephants may be left till such time as convenient to begin the drive into the second or securing stockade. This large enclosure must be plentifully supplied with food and water, so that the beasts may not be in want of either during the time they are kept within the encircled stockade.
Up behind this Tikala where we're staying.
It was at this stage of the proceedings that the prince and his party arrived to witness the drive into the second or securing stockade. A cord connected with the arrangements for closing the great doors was placed in the hands of the prince, and he was requested to give a slight tug as soon as the last of the herd had passed from the first into the second enclosure. A herd of 37 elephants had been quietly enticed into the largest enclosure about a fortnight before. Beaters had been placed at intervals of 30 paces around the large enclosure. These men were concealed from view, but should an elephant attempt to break through the stockade, they would come out of their concealment, and the elephant, catching sight of them, would at once turn away. The beat was conducted in perfect silence, the spectators being asked to keep as quiet as possible. We were told the drive had begun, but there were no signs of it to our uninitiated ears. The herd was being gradually worked in our direction. The beaters would flit from tree to tree, and the keen scent of the elephants would indicate the direction from which their human foes were approaching and send them off in the opposite direction. It took fully an hour to drive the beasts half a mile and bring them within view of the platforms. Some of the larger ones, being evidently alarmed and with their trunks uplifted, were endeavouring to scent on which side the danger lay. The herd gradually approached the trapdoor. A young tusker was the first to enter. Then followed some of the younger ones, and the anxious mothers, forgetful of the danger in front of them, only mindful of the foe behind, set off to join the herd and pass through the gates, which closed with a bang. And there the animals remained till next day, when the more exciting operation of singling out and securing each member of the herd begins. In order to secure the elephants, it was necessary to get the captured herd a few at a time into a second or securing stockade. 6 trained female elephants with mahouts or drivers on their necks were turned into the enclosure and endeavoured to surround a frantic mother, but she simply pushed them aside and made for the door. Jung Bahadur, I'm sure that's not pronounced correctly, the great fighting elephant of the Maharaj of Mysore, was then sent in and took up a position before the gate with his formidable tusks in front, making a barrier on which the furious female would impale herself should she attempt to charge. She appeared inclined even to push the great tusker, but a warning grunt from him seemed to cow her. The kunis, or tame elephants, had again approached and close packed behind her and cut off her retreat. The mahouts mounted on the necks of the tame elephants are in perfect safety, as the wild ones take not the slightest notice of them, being apparently unaware that the little object on the neck of their domestic brethren is the real source of danger. The famous nooses were soon down and had hobbled round her hind legs. To these a great hawser was attached, and 2 of the tame elephants, taking the end of the hawser in their trunks, commenced to drag her away from the gate. Her efforts to break from the hawser were truly marvellous. Some elephants were hobbled and dragged to a tree and there made fast. Others were lassoed and secured between 2 tame elephants and led out of the enclosure and fastened to posts. Of the 37 elephants captured on this occasion, 8 were shot next day by Sanderson's order, as they were too old for work and could not be tamed. I asked him why he could not let them go free rather than destroy the poor brutes.
Okay, bus. Yes, bus.
He told me that a herd consisted of a single family, youngsters, parents, grandparents, great-grandparents, sisters, cousins, aunts, etc., that the members of a herd always kept together, and that if he set some free, they would not take themselves off, but would linger around and probably attack the camp at night. He added that on one occasion when he was fresh to the business of elephant catching, he set free several old beasts after he had removed the remainder of his captives to a camp 26 miles away. At night, the animals he had set free stampeded the camp and nearly killed several keepers. There was no help for it, therefore, but to kill the old and useless beasts. A large fire was kindled over their bodies, and the mountain of flesh was burnt to ashes. So is this how elephants have been treated by mankind for thousands of years? Fazl the Mahout told us there were no elephant farms. We saw a newborn baby elephant when we visited Kaziranga. He was domesticated.
The baby is just 3 months. 3 months old baby. Very young. Yeah.
Again, when we visited Kheddah National Park in 2019, we saw another young elephant with its domesticated mother.
A month and a half, ready, yeah. This one on the right, this one is the mother.
Oh,
Their whole legs are being chained in the at night.
Are the majority of domesticated elephants actually captured elephants, as mankind has done for thousands of years? I don't know the answer to this. Is this why some of the national parks in India now ban tourist elephants? Lots of questions to which I don't know the answers. I hope some of you who know the answers will create a discussion below this video so we all can understand some of the issues better.
That's where we were this morning.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
Another tiger?
Yeah, maybe.
Fingers crossed.
It is a real honour to be able to cruise around this wonderful national park in India, watching and observing the wildlife in their natural habitat, away from interference by mankind. We come across this colony of macaque monkeys, and what is wonderful is they take absolutely no notice of us, and we can just sit and enjoy them as they go about naturally.
Hot water. And they love it. They clean each other and picking. These are quite calm.
Sticking to Prakash's drive plan, we head off to the Kheddah grasslands to see if we can find one of these tigers. As Prakash explained to us in an earlier video, the grassland tigers provide the tourists the greatest amount of time to view them when they appear. Will we be lucky and see one before the sun goes down? Prakash looks hard into the distant evening light. Are the other tourist jeeps watching a tiger?
Yeah.
I think that means tiger, so let's get off and see if we can see it too.
अबे यार वो बीच थोड़ा गहरा वाला है छोटी घास में आ गया टाइगर में क्यों भाग रहा है तू पता क्या क्यों भाग रहा तुम चलाओ गाड़ी लपेट लो इधर घास में छोटी घास में आएगा Look at the tiger in middle of the grass coming our side. Here.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, yes, I can see it. Yeah.
You can wait the small grass, huh?
I can see it.
Wow, magnificent.
Is this the same one from this morning?
Maybe.
It would appear to be hunting. I'm mindful of a few facts I learnt from reading Jim Corbett's book, Man-Eaters of Kumaon. Jim talks about tigers approaching its intended prey facing into the wind or breeze. And it lies and waits for them on the downwind side of the intended meal. Watching this tiger, it too will be very aware that its intended prey will be able to smell danger if the wind changes direction. Regarding how much meat a tiger eats, Corbett says, "I regret I'm not able to tell you what weight of flesh a full-grown tiger can consume at a meal, but you'll have some idea of his capacity when I tell you he can eat a samba in 2 days and a buffalo in 3, leaving possibly a small snack for the 4th day." As he walks through this grass with his head down, we can see how easy it is not to see him, and I'm very pleased he's not stalking me. In the distance we can see the large herd of cheetal and hog deer, keeping well away from the grass. The tiger stops. I wonder what it's actually stalking. I can't see anything, but no doubt it has a strategy. We can understand why Prakash and his fellow tourist guides and drivers believe the best long views of tigers are those of the grassland. We are all very privileged to be able to watch it for so long. The jeeps keep moving along with the tiger so as to give their guests the best views.
अभी ऐसे गैप मिलेगा ना तो कर देगा क्रॉस ये लेकिन वहाँ तक गैप ही नहीं है ना करेगा क्रॉस ये आया कहाँ से रही है अच्छा ऐसी घास आया फिर तो वही हुआ जब सारा है
Oh! Oh, golly.
Oh, it's only you guys.
Oh, golly. I just don't want to crash, no.
यहाँ डाल दे यहाँ वहाँ डाल दूँ बैठ बैठ
Traffic jam.
राधा वल्लभ के हाथ निकालो राधा वल्लभ के हाथ निकालो राधा वल्लभ चलो करो
अरे पूरा चुराया गलियों में निकालने दो ऑटो अब कहाँ से कर लो पूरा घेर रखा हो
राधा वल्लभ निकाल आगे निकाल आगे आगे कुछ गाड़ी आगे ले लो अरे विनोदा भी चल रहे हैं यहाँ आगे निकाल लो
Prakash believes there's a chance the tiger will walk to us in this position. By the time we get here, the tiger sensibly decides to disappear.
Tiger is very clever. He knows you have a 10-15 minutes left. After 10-15 minutes you have to go.
He knows in 10 or 15 minutes we will all be gone and it will be dark when it will be king once more.
Amazing, very nice
There,
landscape.
just there.
Very nice. Can you imagine?
अंदर अंदर इधर लगा देना दबा के